Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Sam, and today our topic we're going to discuss about Instagram marketing, and our main topic will be content consumer. So, what is content consumer? Content consumer is the consumers who move or take an actions based on the content that you have shown to the or they have seen. For example, you have a video content, so you have image content, so you have text content, which is written articles, could be a blog. So based on these three contents, the consumer take an action and they becomes leads, and you make a sales out of these contents, right? So these are the contents that you are actually selling it to your consumers. So who are these consumers? These consumers can be anybody, but these actions are taken to sales by the contents that you have provided. So why is it important in your social media marketing? Now, this is what we are going to discuss in our topic today. So let's get started. Instagram marketing content consumer. All right, so what is content consumer, as you have explained? So now, how does it work? So let's take an example of social media, right? So what it is, now you have this social media profile. This could be social media. Now the purpose of the social media is to share your activities or basically your content. This content comes in a three format basis. Usually it's a text, a video, or image file. Now let's take an action with social media. It can be Facebook, Instagram, or any other social media that are available in the market right now. So the main purpose is to share a content, right? So there is a users. So what does this user do? The user take an action based on the contents. So we have contents over here. So let's take this contents as kind of a surprise gift box. So this is content. What does this surprise box provides is it's a package content. It has got some image, some good contents of blogs or articles, stories, as well as a video, right? Now, the main purpose of the social media is to share this content, this surprise box or a gift box. What happened is that there are two actions which are taken based on this content. So let's take this one. The first action is the user like the content, right? So when the user like the content, what it does is that either the content is consumed by the user, or the content is shared to another consumers. So these are like a group of consumers, right? A consumer can be two. One is self, and the other one is others, like your friends. So you have the contents, you have the videos, you have the articles, you have the image. You like it, so you like it. You keep it. You buy the service, you buy the product, or you like it, so you share it to somebody else who can use this product, who can use this service. Sharing to your friend. So this is the entire activities, the flow of a content using your social media. Now, what happens when there is no? The user does not like it, right? So here's the thing that what you have to understand: when your package is not liked by the users, so which becomes no. Now there is a reason why your product is not liked by the users. Basically, when we say the users, they are the consumers. Okay, so the question can be, let's say, why. Right? So why is the question. Now, if you looked at the social media, why does people take an actions to buy something based on what they just felt it emotionally? They do not touch it, right? They do not taste it. So if there is no feelings when you touch it, and if there is no taste or flavor when you don't even taste it, how are you able to take an action? Now, to release, or for the customers, for the consumers, or for the users to like it, you need to release factors, the factors that convert the contents to yes from no, and the factors using social media, right, is there is only one main. There can be a lot of factors, but today we are going to discuss about only one particular factor, and the factor to convert this user from no to yes is how you can release a thing called dopamine. Dopamine, as we, I guess you all know that what it is just a chemical reaction in our brain that release a satisfaction to a person, right? And that satisfactions is what people are looking for. So when your contents become no, it's not liked by the consumers or the users, you have to think about why. And the main factor of the why is because your content does not release this thing called dopamine, right? So now what we want to discuss about in this particular thing today is that we want to create a content, right, that is something likable to the consumer. Because if your content is not likable, then there is no use of you trying to convince somebody to buy or use or try the service or the product that you are trying to market to the crowd, right? So now there are, again, this become the factor. Dopamine is one of the factor. Okay. But now we also have to consider about, is there any kind of a matrix, right? That can release this dopamine. Well, there are a matrix, but I'm not sure if it's in a scientific term or if there is in a technical term there is anything called a matrix to release the dopamine. But with my understanding, today I'm going to explain to you about or share to you about that how can we use that matrix to convert our contents sellable or buyable to the consumer. Okay, so here we have the dopamine. Now we're going to discuss about the matrix. Okay, so now let's get back to the matrix, and I'll write down a few points that you might want to also note it down, or you can always come back and check to this clip to understand what are the matrix that you need to follow to release the dopamine. And so if you can also release the dopamine based on your contents, you will always have this user or the consumer to become your leads, and end of the day, possible that they become uh, a consumer, a customer for you that convert to sales, right? So let's get to the point. Discuss about dopamine metrics. So dopamine is the factor, and we have a matrix for that. So, so what are the matrix? The possible matrix, as we have, as I have mentioned to you, that there is no such a technical term, or there may be, or there may not be, which I'm not aware of it. But to my understanding, I'm just creating this matrix as a term uh, to create this dopamine. A few points why, what can be the matrix to release a dopamine. So let's take the first one as love and lust. Right. So what is love and lust? Our main target, the reason why we mentioned this love and lust, is because this is something, it's not physical most of the time. It can be physical, but most of the time it's not physical. But you are attracted by things. When you share your contents more emotionally, that touch somebody's thoughts, their feelings, this become more a dopamine releasing factor, right? So let's say I sent you videos of somebody is some poor guy being helped by or loved by some animals or some other person. That is kind of a love. Most of the consumer will buy those kind of a content. Lust, similarly. And the second one, we can say motivation. So does your content provide, share some kind of a motivation? There are a lot of people around the world who are thinking about trying to satisfy themselves and trying to take a next stage with kind of a motivations that, you know, in this world it's really hard. Everybody is busy, and it's hard to express yourself, share your story to somebody and ask them for your help. So people tend to approach like something like a social media, like a YouTube or Instagram or Facebook or some kind of a blogs or articles, to read and understand and motivate themselves. So does your contents provide some kind of a motivations that people follow, and they liked it, and they offer it, and they buy it, or they share it? The third thing is it some kind of grabbing attention? So is your matrix is getting any attention? Is your content is taking attention to the crowd? Right. We browse around like the feed on the Facebook. Similarly, we looked around on the uh, on Instagram. So does anything of your content catch any kind of a grab any attention to the crowd? Right. So this is one of the another matrix. And let's give one more point, and which could be addiction. Addictive. We're gonna put it as addictive or some kind of imagination. So what is this basically? Is your content kind of a addictive? Is that like some kind of a fun, or some kind of like a curiosity, or is it some kind of a new exploration, or is it some kind of a new something that people really likes to spend time, you know. And then is your article some kind of contents, or is your content some kind of articles or videos or image that brings or get people into imagine things, you know. So let's get back to what our matrix are. Now, as we were discussing previously, what are the factors why the consumer, uh, how to convert users to a consumer using social media. So as we were talking about as this as a social media, and here he's the user, and here is the contents, which is just like a surprise gift, and this become yes, and this is no, right? So if it yes, then the consumer eats it or share it. So the focus that you have to give on creating a content is that consumers consumer they like it. Okay, so the consumer like it, uh, they feel it, they taste it. So the third actions they do is they buy it, they share it. Or share it. So we want to create contents that can do this particular thing. Now, when your contents become no, you need to focus on this dopamine and understand that your contents is at least taking some kind of what do you call it? Uh, if just to check it, like if your content can create dopamine, and does it include any of these things in the matrix, right? So if your content is not following any of this matrix, right, then it's going to be really really hard for you to maximize uh, um, or to expand your contents to consumers that you are looking for. So the way to convert no is to understand the dopamine and understand follow the matrix. So once you follow this particular package, right, it become yes again. So when it become yes, the user take an action here. The consumer like it, feel it, taste it, they buy, they share it. This is the main motive of any social media uh, business, either it's a Facebook or if it's Instagram or anything that you look for, or any kind of product or service that are available online. So if you ever try to create a content, try to spend some time so that somebody will be paying their attention, look down to something that if it's worth for you to work on that particular content. If your content does not provide any kind of thing over here, then probably you might want to change the way you structure your contents or the way you put a storyline on your contents. So always remember that content is about creating a story and how you plot it and how exciting, interesting it is for a consumer to consume it, right? So the main prospect, the main uh, understanding of creating a no contents to yes contents to consumer is because the contents that we are trying to sell has to convert some value. And if it does not convert any value of what we're doing, then we are wasting our time. So I'm not perfect, and I'm not saying that this is the correct way, but this is the factors what I have always considered, and this is the matrix that I use to share or to create a contents. It may take time, the first, the second, the first month, the second month, but once you understand the purpose of what you're doing, then you will always fall into doing the perfect things, the right things for your contents. You just don't want to waste your time and money, you know. So that's all for today, and let's recap it if you'd like to. Now, quickly recap of today's contents. It's about Instagram marketing, content consumer. So why do we call it content consumer? We are trying to create a content for the consumers that they can consume it, right? And so how does it work is it's work based on the social media. So that's our platform. It can be any kind of a social platform, but let's take as a social platform. And we have a users. Users can be any people in your audience, your customers, and your prospects, you know. And to sell to these people, to unknown people, you need to create contents. The contents can be any kind of a package in the forms of article, text, or text, which is like article, a video, or a photo, right? So if your consumer likes it, they eat it or they share it. They buy it or they share it. If your contents is no, they don't. If they do not like it, then there is a factors. The reason for they do not like is because the contents does not release a dopamine. Dopamine. There are a lot of reasons. There are a lot of factors that does not, uh, give them that excitement to take the action. But I take this dopamine as one of the factors, so it's much easier to understand it. And under this dopamine, to how do you release the dopamine for somebody to do actions to make it happy, to make it satisfied, you know, of the thing that I have seen it, and that you're providing some kind of assurance to take an actions on based on what you have provided on your contents. So to release that dopamine, you need to understand the matrix. And so to understand the matrix, you can list down whatever you think about it. These are just my points. You can list down your own, and if you really create your own thing, draw it like how I do things, and follow your own step, experiment it every now and then, you will get the real output for what you're looking for in the longer term. So the matrix includes love and lust. Does your content provide some kind of affectionate things, love or lust things? Does your content provide some kind of a motivations to people, some kind of attention, some kind of addictive, or some kind of imaginations that people feels very happy? Then yes, your contents become from no to yes, and the consumer will for sure will buy it or eat it. So back again here, as we were discussing, this is your social media, and you have a user, you have a content, so it become yes. And once it become yes, the consumer like it, feel it, taste it, they buy it or they share it. And when your consumers does not like it, what you have to do is that rethink about your contents and try to create dopamine on your contents from your contents. And to follow that dopamine, to release dopamine, you have to understand this matrix. The matrix says that you need to create some kind of love and lust contents, motivations, attention, addictive, and imaginations. And you can have a list of these things. But now what will happen is if you can create this kind of a contents, when it is no, recreate it. And when it becomes yes, what happens is that when it becomes yes, you have the output as a consumer, buy it or share it. Right? So I hope you like it, and if there is something that you'd like to share, if you think that you want to include something, and these are just for free information, but I'm not saying that these are free, but it's not accurate. These are the actual things or the steps that I have taken, and I have also my own company that runs on social media. But at the same time, I want to share to guys like you, because there was a time that I was looking for I was looking for some kind of a knowledge, some kind of information. The time when I didn't have the money to study, to understand, to have a mentor or somebody who can instruct me or tell me. So I did my own research. It took time, but today I want to share it to you. If you cannot afford some kind of a course or program or anything like that, you can always subscribe to my channel, and I will always share to you what I think is worth to share, and that you can apply in your upcoming or ongoing business. So if you'd like to know more about this, please feel free to share your comments and we will discuss about it. And please do subscribe if you'd like to know more.